The title today is On Serial Murder, Divorce, and Adultery. What a happy title. I've written and spoken on divorce before, for it is the second greatest cause of sin in our Christian faith today, coming right behind the sin of hatred, of races, of persons different to us in any way, for any reason, for the failure or actual refusal to accept into our congregations and communities any who are sealed with the light of Christ, which is a sin equal to killing them. For when you deny their very right to exist, it is akin to murder with each one of them in your heart and your mind. Thus, discrimination is the sin of mental genocide of all other races. And those who discriminate can never, will never reach the kingdom of heaven until they repent each and every murder, recreating each person that they have mentally wiped from existence, and doing a penance for each. For divorce, one causes the other to sin, so one carries the full burden of all of the sin of the end of the relationship. There is one curious sidelight: the case of the predator of infidelity, or of the commission of serial infidelity by mostly men. This is a 94% men to 3% women. But the men who do this are usually psychopaths. I will remind all here that one of my advanced degrees is in psychology, and I worked for 2 years with the father of psychopathy. He was the one who termed psychopathy and delineated what was included within that disease or diagnosis within the DSM-3, 4R, and 5. And I worked on studies of psychopathy under him. These will commit infidelity after infidelity, but it isn't the case of a partner believing that their other partner should have inhuman faith and inhuman volumes of forgiveness so as to forgive him each and every time. No. In reality, it is that the male is a psychopath, for their raison d'etre, their reason and code of conduct, is acting as the most likable, most charming person you have ever met, physically attractive, and they work to befriend the target in less than an hour, unless a longer courting is to benefit their scam or whatever they're doing. These are actual definitions of psychopathy. A psychopath is characterized by his inability to feel empathy, and the thought of punishment or the negative consequences for his behavior will often excite him from as young as the age of 7 years old. That is why you can punish them, you can throw them in prison. They don't give a damn. It excites them to think of that, because they will continue to offend wherever you put them. They are the best friend to have around, right up until the moment that they drop the ruse and slash your throat, steal everything you own, or rob your company because you trusted them on short acquaintance and gave them too much access. For these are the true definitions of psychopathy. Look at all of the serial killers, all of the great thieves, For instance, if your name is attached to a type of theft, a type of a scam, you must have been notable. For instance, Ponzi, who developed a Ponzi scheme. He was a great and notable psychopath. All would be accepted by everyone, and no one would ever believe their wife that they had committed serial infidelity, for that just wasn't what Jerry would do. He was the center of the church board. He wouldn't do such a thing. The fact that he was servicing all the other wives on the board and expecting his wife to remain compliant about it would have been total news to all the other church board members. He expected his wife to be compliant, forgiving, and accepting, or, as he later told it, stupid, gullible, and so bloody dull. He would never change, even if the Christ was standing in front of him, because he just didn't care. The termination of the marriage and all subsequent acts by the partner are upon the one who cheated and caused the termination, until the religious annulment ends the ordeal. But in situations where one is growing and learning and expanding horizons naturally, but the other is reverting to a previous immature state, that growth is not the cause, but the immaturity and fear of the other are the cause of the divorce and the end of the relationship. That is the partner who will refuse counseling, will refuse doing anything to save the marriage, as is required by the Bible. That partner will rationalize and make excuses, but never change. And all sin, until the religious annulment is possible, is that one's responsibility. A religious annulment declares that the union was never a sacrament and is recognized by all Christian churches now. Each does it in a slightly different manner. The current method of the Catholic Church is designed to create a path to healing within the church, rather than a termination of one's relationship with the church, with Christ through the church. The various denominations of Protestant faiths are starting more and more to come to the same method of the Catholic Church because of the interviews being done are, in effect, a type of therapeutic interview and are very, very helpful to the partner. Other churches follow a much more legalistic path, with no sessions of interviews and counseling included. In the Catholic process, the interview is classified as a therapeutic interview and occurs after one has completed an extensive questionnaire and history of the relationship, that by the petitioner, and the questionnaire and reply by the respondent, with petitioner paying all fees. The petitioner is under 3 interviews, with 2 as direct examinations. Think of it like a police board interviewing you, and the 1 therapeutic interview later. The respondent only has the 1 therapeutic interview, but they can do a second if they do not complete. The religious annulment is the only means by which a Christian can marry again within the faith and not be committing adultery if the previous spouse lives. There are no exceptions, though some search for them. The Lord is quite explicit in his words. As far as his statement, unless the marriage is unlawful, Google the words Moses 6:13 laws, and you will get the list of the mitzvah laws, 613 of them. Within there are the purposes or definitions of the lawful and unlawful marriages, or you can go back to the Old Testament, and you can find it, and they list who you can and who you cannot marry. I find it so much easier to find it in the laws, because you can just, it's a PDF, and you can just put in the search term, unlawful marriage. Boom, there it is. I mean, why go searching for it if you don't have to? Because at that point, you don't want to be poking around in everything and saying, well, what's happening in this one? What's happening with that one? Well, is this one really good, or is that one bad? What's happening here? What's happening there? And it's so much more interesting also when you're looking there, because you can see what are the laws that pertain to, say, the ritualistic killing of animals, and how that pertains to eating. You know, because that will give you the laws on kosher. That will give you the laws on washing, the ritual washing, and everything like that. And it's very, very interesting. Some people might not find it so, but it is such a difference from the way we live, and it is such a difference from just live. Oh, here it is. In Leviticus chapters 4 through 18, you will find the different laws on marriage and the different laws on eating and things like that. But it's much easier to find in the Mosaic laws. So thank you all. We've had some really tough lessons of late, but the topics have been tough. I know that they've been difficult on me. And I write these, and I edit them and everything, and you would think that I would then know what's coming. No. I mean, the fact that I cried during the Rite of Hope was a total surprise. That one hurt so much. I felt like my heart was being ripped out of me. And usually that doesn't happen to me. So we do have many, many new people joining us, and I want to thank all of you. Please remember, if you are joining us, these are being posted the day before they are to be used. I know with the international dateline things get goofy, but I'm posting them at before 5 a.m. the day of use. So please do not use them before 3 p.m. on the date noted on the top. And do not just use a first reading and nothing else, or just the gospel and nothing else. Please, please, please try to remember all of the parts, first, psalm, gospel, and lesson, are a part of the process. The whole thing, the 4 parts, rarely take more than 20 minutes. I know I have to record these things. So please, please, try to listen to all of them. You can listen to them while you are making dinner. You can listen to them while you are walking. That's a very good time to talk to the Lord. Please, 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 don't just listen to one, because then you lose the meaning. But the Lord is very, very happy with the response on Sundays. Thank you all. Peace to all.